a film about zombies, and we have to frame it that way. It's an imagination about zombies, and Jim Jarmusch always took it as just that. It's entertaining. We obviously want to draw the audience in to their situation, their unique personalities, and yes, we knew them as characters in other movies, actors that did a good job of portraying other characters. But for Jim, it was very much an homage to the original zombie films. You know, he loved the idea of those George Romero films and the feeling that that Romero captured in those early movies, and Jim wanted to make this a tribute on some level, a tribute to that genre. So there are things about The Dead Don't Die that are very similar to the George Romero movies. The motel, the kind of car that they drive. There's some references in the dialogue and so on to the earlier films that are very, very specific. And Jim was dedicated to making those points as we went along, as little markers in the story, little reality checks of, oh yes, this is a film about their situation, but it's also a film that refers to George Romero, that refers to movies of another time. Yeah, it's circular. And for Jim Jarmusch, that was so important to the movie, to the structure of the movie, because when he called me and said, you know, I have this story. About a poet who's a bus driver, and I said no, you know, and he said, and his name is Paterson, and he lives in Paterson, and I thought, oh no, what can this be? But for Jim, the key was that repetition of, he drives a bus, he drives the same route every day, he wears the same costume, the same outfit every day, he goes to the bar at the same time every night, and he wakes up at the same time in the morning every day. And I said to Jim, so you want it to be the same shot of he and his wife waking up in bed in the morning? And Jim said, yes, the same shot. And I said, well, maybe it will be boring that 5 days a week it's the same frame exactly. Is that really what you want? And he said, yes, I want it to be very, very similar. And so I felt it was part of my job to add just a very, very subtle variation from one day to the next. And Jim and I talked about it because he did not want to budge. He did not want to move too far from the idea. But so the same shot of them lying in bed waking up, and maybe one day it's a little closer and one day it's just a little closer, and maybe the light changes just a little tiniest bit, but not much at all, except for Sunday, the last day, where something has gone wrong in the story. The night before, the dog ate the book, and the poems are gone. And Jim said, yes, Sunday can be different. Sunday, the light can feel different. I don't have to see overhead, I just see the two of them sitting on the bed. And it's a very quiet, calm moment. And it feels different, and that's okay. So for Jim, that was a very big switch, you know, from the same shot to this new shot. But he liked it. He liked that idea. So that's one of the things, the little things that I brought to Jim as an idea, that maybe this is a way to make the story stronger. And that was part of my job, I think, to offer my opinion about how to support those characters and their situations by changing the environment just slightly. The last film I did with Jim Jarmusch is called Father, Mother, Sister, Brother. It's a very simple story. It's a triptych, 3 parts, about family relations, or maybe family dysfunction. I shot one of the 3 parts, and it involves 2 older siblings going to visit their father. They don't see him very often, and the conversations are very, very awkward. But you can see as the balance between the characters changes during our part, you learn so much about the history of their family and the dynamic between these characters and the mother who's died. It's a very subtle shift, and really, I think the story is full of wonderful moments between these actors, and each of the three segments is very much the same, although different characters, different stories, different countries. The dynamics are interestingly very similar.